So this segment is a bit older, I know. I just want to get rid of some old clips, I guess. I want to discuss this MP being stun locked for the over trans toilets, and I just found this really, really funny, to be honest.
I think if you look at Bridget Phillipson's interview with Times Radio...
Or Bridget Phillipson might be in a bit of trouble as well, so we'll discuss that another time.
Mentioning a rival show in June last year, quite right, where she was saying that under her preferred interpretation of the law, trans women should use women's bathrooms. That wasn't the position she was adopting during the election campaign. And the reality is Labour shadow ministers, as they then were repeatedly unable to give a straight answer to the question of both what is a woman and whether trans women should be using women's-only spaces.
Now, this is all true, and I covered that at the time that, Labour don't have an answer on this, and it was quite worrying. And I think maybe they were waiting for this court ruling to come out, because it was coming down the pipeline.
In that sense, I'm afraid, it just doesn't wash to say that there has been consistency, because there hasn't been.
Right, but there has been, and what we have to do now...
There has not been consistency, Dawn Bella.
...is talk about the protections of trans women and trans men who are often left out of the debate. And actually, I think within this debate, I actually think we shouldn't have debates anymore without a trans man or a trans woman being included in the debate, because it's always talking about them without them. And in regards to bathrooms, which is always this sort of vexed issue, what really concerns me is that, trans women should... in my opinion, of course, still continue to use women's bathrooms. They can't.
That's literally not what the law says.
But Hank, let me just
that's the whole point
talk
of this
through.
ruling.
Let me just safe spaces.
It's not necessarily say that ruling is correct or incorrect. Judges do get things wrong, and I think, in my opinion, they have got this one wrong.
There's not been a safe space is a safe space. I do not police people in public toilets. And I think that's where we're getting to as society, in policing what a woman looks like. I have a butch lesbian friend who gets hounded out of women's toilets, and it is heartbreaking to the point where we have to escort her into the toilet because she's going to be hounded out, and we need to stop that. And what concerns me about the toilet debate is if trans men then have to use women's toilets, that's going to make women less safe, because how are you going to stop a man, a normal man, going into a woman's toilets and saying, I'm a trans man? And so I think we have to look at
I don't follow that logic.
Why?
Because the point is that we're saying that people who are biologically men shouldn't be using women's toilets. That's the point of this ruling, among other things.
But a trans man is biologically a woman.
Someone who's transitioned from being a woman to a man.
I think they need to get like a flowchart or like a diagram out for this, brother.
And so they would then have to use women's toilets.
He's done.
I think this...
Yeah, posh boy accent, but no brains.
And that's the problem. That is the problem, and that's what concerns me.
I'll be honest, this is something that we can talk about an awful lot more and debate an awful lot more, and I thank both of you for doing it in a respectful way.
Yeah, it's a genuinely contentious
Yeah,
one.
I think he's finally realised why it's a bad ruling.
Yeah, let's go to the...
I've seen a lot of cis women say, men don't have to pretend to be women to assault them or to attack them, which is true. At the moment, the judicial system for protecting victims is an abomination. As I've said, many times on this channel, I've seen instances of, potentially 4 years to get your day in court over a violent crime. 4 years is absolute insanity. Absolute insanity, and the only reason for that is because the Tories hollowed out the judicial system and the policing. They're the main reasons why. But anyways, I'm going to leave it there. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Like, comment, share, subscribe. Support the channel on Patreon if you can. And hopefully I'll see you in the next one.